So it was a fantastic week for the market. I say fantastic because the kind of volatility that played out on Sunday post budget, especially the STT announcement, that actually overshadowed the overall budget. I think the budget was really good, but government missed an opportunity to again boost the capital markets. They should have. I think a change in approach is required when it comes to capital market. Capital market in the past has been used by all great countries to move forward, to progress, so that the promoters get money, more capital comes into the market. It's a great tool, and I think government refuses to see it this way. Nevertheless, I think the budget was really good. Then midweek we got the announcement of the US trade deal. Again, we had some kind of market movement on the upside, and post that we've again seen some flattening out of market momentum. See the deal, I'll just spend a couple of minutes on it. I think India played it really well, because we were striking so many deals with probably UK, Europe, then the UAE, so many countries. We essentially forced US to come back to the table. And if you go through whatever detail is available, I think it is again a win-win situation for India especially. So overall, apart from the deal, I would also tell you a lot of people are confusing the markets with what is happening in the economy. I think this phase that we are going through in terms of macroeconomic data points that are coming out of India, this is the best macroeconomic scenario that I have at least seen over the last 15-20 years. India's macros literally are among the best in the world. It is just that I would tell you market participants are expecting too much after the run up that we saw in 2021 to 2024. Markets just cannot keep compounding at 30-35%. So that is why post 2024, whatever muted returns we have seen, and specifically assets like gold and silver that have done very well, it's natural for equities to behave that well. So don't link the two. India's macros are the best among the largest economy in the world. Our growth rate also, we are growing at the fastest pace. Of course, don't consider countries that are well below in terms of overall GDP and those kind of metrics. But India, as an economy, as the macroeconomic picture stands, is the best market today. Markets eventually will catch up. Yes, there has been underperformance, which has frustrated a lot of investors and traders. You can see the drop in volumes is clearly visible. People have shifted to gold and silver that has done very, very well. That is understandable. But equity market works this way. It moves up 20-30% of the time, 70% of the time, either it falls and consolidates. It is just one of those phases. So I'll begin with gold and silver. Silver has fallen about 40-45% from the top, gold I think about 25%. Again, these assets will set up. Look at the pile of volumes. Again, the pile of volumes. There's significant interest in this asset class. And the interest does not die down so soon, especially given the global backdrop that is currently happening, geopolitical tensions, the world is realigning, a lot of things that I don't want to repeat. I'm sure all of you are reading on the internet. So you have to keep these assets on the radar. This is after this base now. This probably would be one more base that is getting formed here in silver. Give it some time; it will settle down. These days, average volatility in silver is about 7-8%. You shouldn't be getting caught into such a volatile movement. So give it some time to settle down. I think again one new base will show up. Similarly, in the equity space, if you see the metal ETF, PSU Bank ETF, these have done very well. I won't include bank ETF as such because bank ETF over the last 2-3 months has just been in a broad range. I'll come to the bank ETF in a bit. But I think there are a couple of ETFs, couple of sectors where you should pay attention. The first one is the CPSE space. I'd spoken about this a couple of weeks back also. Look at the lull in volumes here, and now you're seeing the pickup in volumes. There is something happening in this space, the CPSE ETF, the PSE ETF. I'll pull out the PSE ETF also. Look at the volumes. So there's something happening. The more you look at the global scenario, global market scenario, you'd kind of question why movement is happening in CPSE or PSE ETF. But given what Indian government is doing, I think this is one pocket you should look at, research on it. As such, SEBI does not have any restriction on someone talking about sectors and pockets. That is why I can freely talk about it. If you want individual stocks, you have to go down to this particular sector, the stocks that are listed in this sector, and then do your own research. But this is a beautiful structure that is setting up in this space. Autos, I would tell you, after the European deal, auto sector has taken a bit of a knock, but I think this is just a consolidation phase over long term. Give it some time, this sector will also set up. I think in the immediate short term, there is a good amount of probability that you will see some movement coming in banks. And this time around, private bank. This is the HDFC Private Bank ETF. Look at what is happening in this ETF. It climbed to about 29 there. After so much of negative news flow, it is still at the same level and hit a new 52-week high. So there is definitely something happening. This is nothing but silent accumulation. Of course, everything can fail. But if HDFC Private Bank ETF, or rather the Private Bank ETF index, not the ETF, starts moving the way it is currently behaving in terms of strong relative strength, then you will also see, especially if you're an index player, movement coming in Nifty Bank. So keep this pocket on radar, because PSU Bank, I think, is a consensus. A lot of people have bought it. I think private sector bank is something that has remained under the radar. The likes of HDFC, ICICI, Kotak, Axis just haven't performed a lot for investors. So this is a pocket that can not only impact Bank Nifty, but it can also impact the overall market, because this is a index that is FII heavy kind of index, that is, which means FIIs pay a lot of attention to those stocks, quality stocks, and HDFC Private Bank ETF, or let's say a private bank index, also has all the pedigree private sector banks in India. And I've repeated this many times. The likes of HDFC, ICICI, Kotak, even to some extent Axis, you will not find such amazing private banks across the world, given their performance, given their stability. I'm not talking about quarter on quarter NPA jump. I think people overreact to it, but overall, these banks are exceptionally strong. You'll find it very difficult to find such quality banks all over the world. There is also, so PSC I've covered, oil ETF also. I personally don't trade this space, but again, something is happening. Look at the volumes that have started coming in the PSC, CPSC, oil ETF. Capital market. If you've recently heard the interview of legendary investor Mr. Ramesh Damani, he was talking about two sectors. Capital market he did not mention, but he was mentioning about defense. And defense is something I'm super bullish on from the long term. Yes, as of now it is just fluctuating. This ETF is at 85, but if you're here in the market for the next many years, keep a tab on this ETF. It is not going to be at 85 because of what is happening in the world, because of the defense momentum that has caught up with all countries. And our capabilities, of course, we saw what our capabilities were in the recent conflict with our nuisance neighbor, no matter what the world says. But that in itself was a great advertisement to what capabilities India is currently developing. And that will be, I think, one highlight. If there is one takeaway whenever this government changes, I would give credit to the government for what they have done. And especially in these challenging times when a country like US was imposing tariffs, I think the way government has handled this situation is amazing. You have to give credit where it's due. But there are still a lot of pockets that are not doing well. So if you ask me personally, overall Nifty 500 index, there are just 33% stocks that are above 200 DMA. So as of now, I'm not buying a lot of stocks, but I'm heavily buying ETFs, because for me that gives an opportunity to participate on the long side. Plus, it gives me sector specific approach, and I don't have to chase a lot of stocks. So that is my approach. It is not that I won't buy banking stocks or metal stocks whenever they set up again, but I just have a little bit more diversified approach in this cycle. I'll come to stocks when the breadth improves. So let me put it this way. If the breadth of Nifty 500 today is that 32% stocks are above 200 DMA, and if it has to improve from 32 to, let's say, 50 and above, this leg I will capture through ETF. And once stability returns in broader market, then I will start looking at a lot of stocks. That is just my approach, and I'm pretty much comfortable with it. It's just one of the rules I follow of William O'Neill, that whenever the breadth of the market is not great, you always have to be slightly conservative when it comes to doing things in the market. So this is just my way. But I remain super bullish on our Indian equity markets also. It is just that we are going through a lot of time correction, a frustrating phase, consolidation phase, where people begin to lose a lot of interest. And that is clearly reflected in the underperforming ETFs. You look at real estate, IPO, tourism, internet, FMCG, small cap. Look at small cap ETF after what happened over the last 2-3 years. HDFC small cap 250. This is clear lower high and lower low. The day tariff was announced, I had written a detailed post on Twitter about it. So go and read that. You'll get a better understanding about the market structure. This is the small cap 250, railways, healthcare, health ETF, consumer ETF. Look at all these ETFs. They are in clear lower high, lower low structure. So not everything is going to do well. What is going to do well? IT sector took a hit because of Anthropic AI or something. I was truly blown away from what I saw, the examples that were coming up on the internet. I think people need a serious wake-up call for what is happening. I personally don't think IT sector or AI as such is going to cause a lot of job loss in the very short term, but I think preparation needs to be done, because some of these tools are right away. I can tell you a CFA level 3 kind of candidate, or somebody who has cleared CFA and is a certified financial analyst for the last 7-8 years. These AI tools will match the skills of one of the best financial analysts also. I'm just talking from our industry point of view because I don't understand IT that much. So just amazing things are happening, and you have to embrace what is happening. There is no point running away from it. And which pockets are doing well? The quality, the top 150, top 100. Look at these sectors, ETFs. They haven't fallen a lot because that is where the money is going. And if FIIs choose to return to India, given now that the US India trade deal has gone through, then you will see movement coming in indices, in sectors, banks, private banks, Nifty 50, Nifty 100, Nifty 200, all the top names that are usually the poster boy of Indian economy, Indian growth story. You'll start seeing movement in those pockets also. And then, of course, yes, gold, silver, whenever the new base sets up, because massive volume. Again, volume comes in where there is a lot of interest. So this has fallen 25-30%. A lot of people who are getting in, chasing momentum, have burned their hands. That is how things play out. A lot of things will also depend on the US market. This is the Dow Jones index. Yesterday you saw a breakout. Sorry, I was thinking that the US market would remain quiet in this quarter, but yesterday's breakout did surprise me. I'll still give it some time because of what the Nasdaq index is doing. Nasdaq index is not in a great structure as compared to Dow Jones, but overall, because technology sector is the poster boy of US currently, so you'll have to keep a watch on US markets. And I think if the US markets can remain stable for 3-4 months, why I say stable, because there are so many moving data points that are coming out through the US system, be it the geopolitical risk, be it their bonds, given what is happening in Japan. Yesterday, Japanese market was also up, I think, 5 odd percent. So there are a lot of volatile movements happening. So I think we'll be very lucky if the next 4-5 months nothing happens to the US market. I think then India has a good amount of probability to do well. So I won't say if and but, because that is not my style. I'm super bullish on India in terms of market performance this year. The only caveat I will give you is the US market, because world will not be able to survive any accident coming out of US. That is the base case. But India's story as such, the macroeconomic stuff, whatever I've spoken about, it is the best currently in the world. This is the emerging market ETF. This also has India in it, but you can just see how this ETF has performed, or rather outperformed our broader market ever since this entire year. Look at it. India has underperformed so much. EM has kept on moving up, and India has struggled. So India is not coming on back of super performance. It is actually coming. We are coming out of a phase where I think we have underperformed so much. The relative valuations with respect to emerging market and world has fallen, I think, to the lowest level you've seen in many years. This is the MSCI India chart that a lot of foreign investors track, and very similar kind of candle. This is a news driven kind of a candle, and this probably happened on the US trade deal announcement. So keep a tab. I mean, I would tell you that don't necessarily get bearish on India, even if you get some news, short term news coming out in terms of whatever happens. The only thing you have to keep in mind is the US market, nothing else. So this is also a data point that I track. This essentially plots. I mean, historically, this has worked very well. If you can see the charts here, this is the dip of 2020, then 2022, 2025 currently, where we started bottoming out. This was 2012, I think, then 2016. Every time it reaches these levels, 2004, 2003, 2002, you start getting some interest back in the market. So this is essentially, I won't say it is a breadth chart. I don't want to. I'll be very honest. I don't want to give out the calculation logic behind it. Of course, I hope you can understand. It will come up on some app pretty soon. But this is essentially a sentiment indicator that measures the performance of stock in a particular time frame. That much hint I can definitely give you. So we are very close to the level where we give or take 1 or 2 months. Always it is 1 or 2 months. We are very close to the level where yes, we can see more broader market pain, but rallies can also play out. And this is when you have to start looking at equities. You have to start looking at the pockets you like, and there are plenty of strength pockets still out there in the market. Don't for once start getting so bearish that you stop looking at what India has to offer. Yes, gold and silver is the talk of the town, especially given how people keep posting on Instagram or Twitter or the influencer network. I completely get that, and you should. There is nothing wrong, but look at other opportunities also. Look at where people are not paying attention today. Are people paying attention to gold and silver? Yes. So think about it. Are people paying attention to some ETFs that are currently setting up in the market? I think no. Always that will generate alpha in your portfolio where there is not too much of consensus. Always remember that. That is why I'm telling you when it comes to Nifty Bank, I'll just open up the chart of Nifty Bank. So when it comes to Nifty Bank, I think a lot of people have participated in Nifty Bank through PSU banks right from this leg because PSU Bank was clearly giving a breakout. So the positioning here for people in Nifty Bank is more in the PSU part. But what about private bank? Are people positioned in private bank? No, because look at the performance. There has been just no momentum, just no movement. This is the ETF, so you can see a better chart. But if you open the index, you'll understand what I'm saying. Look at what HDFC Bank has done, Axis has done, ICICI has done, major rank underperformer. Indus, I think, has fallen off the grid due to some things, but I hope you get the message. So, if private sector bank is setting up where I think relatively, when you compare with PSU banks, the attention is less, then that is where more alpha will be. It is always like that. So pay attention to sectors and ETFs. I can say about ETFs because then you can go down and see which stocks are there in the ETF and you can shortlist on your own. Strong relative strength, a good base near 50 DMA, clean breakout. The template I have explained many a times, that is of Stan Weinstein. Stocks I cannot speak. I hope you understand. But there are plenty of ETFs that haven't moved at all and now are giving a beautiful structure at 50 DMA, strong relative strength, clean breakout. That is where consensus is not there, and that is where odds of you making money increases. That is my point. So overall, 2026 can be challenging if the US market fails. That is my base case hypothesis. Otherwise, I remain bullish on India given the macros. Don't trust the naysayers and the pessimist people who are out there in plenty these days. The podcast, you all you hear is how we have missed the bus. We missed the AI thing. We have missed so many things. India is lagging. This is something you have heard over the last 20 years, and yet India over the last 20 years has been the best performing stock market in the world. Next 20 years, it's going to be even better. So I've always said this: our very own defense, our very own capital market, some new age businesses can be our own AI theme. We necessarily don't have to be the torchbearer of AI. Things can come out of our country because of because of the talent that is there. Yes, there is a lot of bureaucracy problems you hear on X, and those things will never go away. Despite of that, we have created some magnificent companies. So look at those themes. Don't just stick to one theme that has become the talk of the town, which is AI, semiconductors. Our capital market, our defense, some niche pockets, within EV, within that space, you can get some AI movement. All right. So have a great weekend ahead, guys. Take care and be safe.